Hello and welcome back, or welcome to It's Your Turn, a summit where I'm interviewing 22 amazing people. And I have another amazing person here where we're talking about stop waiting for the world to make sense to change your life. And today we're with Lisa Barnett. And I think I've interviewed Lisa maybe 3 or 4 times. And she's been on a few of my summits. And I don't know if I've been on one of hers, but we have I feel like a relationship. And every time we come together, it feels like we have a lot to talk about. She is I'll let her talk about it, but she's popping. She has so many incredible things to talk about, and what she's doing in the world. You will see as we get into it. And I'm going to just punt it to you. Tell us about your work, and then tell us what are the Akashic Records if someone's watching going, what is that? Oh,
So,
oh,
so,
there you go. It froze for a minute.
I know my internet just yeah,
Decided to.
it decided to let's just start all over. I'm like, okay. No, I just was like, uh-oh, I forgot to I like to hardwire myself in just because, I'm in an old neighborhood and I think we have old hanging cables like for my internet. I'm like, it's, it's, even though it's just goofy. Anyway, so, okay. Sorry.
That's okay. So tell us about you, your work, and then also tell us what are the Akashic Records? If someone's going, I've heard that, well, what is it? So let's start
Okay.
there.
Okay, perfect. So, a little about me. So, I have found that I was connected into the Akashic Records probably over 30 years ago. I was actually an energy healer. And then I started to hear all of this phenomenal information. And when I realized that these were actually beings of light from the Akashic Records, I was so excited because 30 years ago, most people didn't even know about the Akashic Records. So it has been really my honor to have been invited by the record keepers, the Akashic record keepers, to help share this wisdom. I have written 4 books about the Akasha. They have channeled these different 4 books through me, as well as I am the custodian of 8 galactic access prayers, which I teach in my 5-step Akashic Access Wisdom prayer system. So I have a school, I'm an author, I'm a teacher, I'm an Akashic record reader. And so one of the things I love to do the most is to help people to understand who they are as an ancient, wise soul with infinite lives, and to really understand the plan that their soul wrote before they embodied. So that's actually one of my books. Your soul has a plan. Awaken to your life purpose through the Akashic Records. So there's lots of, I'm going to say, useful information into the Akashic Records, but let me just start by explaining what they are, just in case. And I know lots of people will say to me, I've heard about the Akashic Records, but isn't that just past lives? Or what does that mean? So let me explain that. So every soul, from the moment they individuate from source and start their soul journey, every soul has a recording of that journey in what we call the Akashic Records. And so I like to imagine it as a huge library. So if every day, everything you ever did in this life and in every other life you've lived gets uploaded into the cloud, into this etheric quantum field of the Akasha, it's uploaded into your own personal library. And the really beautiful aspect is that you also have your own personal librarians. And so there are a team of Akashic record keepers and beings of light that are in service just to you, right? So to me, learning to access this really profound, very infinite wisdom is a life changer. It can really make you transform, understand, heal trauma, emotional pain, karmic patterns, understand contracts with other people in your life. There is so much information and wisdom in your own very personal library.
Just like, even when you're saying that right there, like how much support each person has, and beyond like the fact that they're records and all that, but just that we have a team of support. So let's talk about, can we talk about the soul and the soul journey? Like, you have a new teaching coming out called Unchain Your Galactic Soul. So because we were talking before we started the interview that the chaos and all the stuff that's happening in the world right now, the way I see it is people feel chained and bound to the suffering that we are, of human suffering. So can you talk a little bit about how the Akashic Records can help unchain the soul and what that means when you say galactic soul?
Absolutely. So I think it's important that everyone realize that we're not just little tiny humans. We don't have one little life or even a half a dozen little lives here on Earth. We are all very infinite souls. We have all been galactic beings, which would translate to you're a star seed. You've lived on other planets, planes, dimensions. We really are in a multiverse. I always love it. Have you ever seen one of those photos from one of those amazing Hubble telescopes or something, where they take like a little square inch of the sky and they blow it up, and there are billions of galaxies, not stars, not planets, galaxies, whole galaxies. Like, we're a spot in the Milky Way galaxy, right? That's like huge if you saw a photo of it. And we're like over here. Same thing, you take all of those, and there's billions of them in an inch of sky that we would like look at. So it truly is an infinite universe, multiverse. And so when I talk about your galactic soul, what I mean is that you have had all these other lives, other experiences. We are so much more powerful, I think, than anyone ever stops to even imagine. So I would say, let's just take a moment and a breath and imagine other planets. Sometimes we have like a propensity to water. Maybe we almost feel like, oh, maybe I love water. Maybe I lived in a water world. Oh, maybe I was a mermaid. You know, I was a mermaid.
I can see that. I can see you as a mermaid.
Right? I lived in the water world on Sirius, which is the dog star. There's Sirius A, B, and C. The Sirius A is a water world. So we have mermaids and whales and dolphins. Maybe your propensity has been a little bit more simple, like you love to go out whale watching or you love to swim with the dolphins. Often these are little thoughts and feelings that, like, oh, I kind of miss that aspect, that life. I have a connection there. And so, we realize, and one of the things I like to teach people when I teach them to access their own Akashic Records with these 8 different galactic access keys to open your records, you start to align with and find out who you've been in other worlds and dimensions. So that's just kind of a start when we're learning to read our records using different galactic access keys, learning who you've been in other lives, and just starting to resonate and realign to this really humongous aspect of who you are as a galactic soul. Now, because we've had so many lives, many of us have been part of galactic councils. There have been great galactic wars that often have affected us. Many souls are from the Arcturian worlds, and the record keepers often say that the Arcturians went through the process of going from war to peace to awakening and enlightenment. And so many Arcturians are here, embodied as humans, like we've probably done quite a few hundred times, are here to help humanity to awaken, to at least start to make this move from war to peace, right? And then from peace to awakening is a much smaller jump, honestly. The move from war to peace is the big leap. And I really believe that's one of the things that we're going to be doing on this planet over these next, hopefully sooner than later, 5-10 years.
So you've seen that that this, Lisa, that this is going to happen sooner than later. Well, soon-ish. We don't know that
We don't
moving
know.
from the war state to a peace state. That is that written in
Yep.
the records?
It actually is, because one of the things that the record keepers say, and one of the things that I know that many of us ancient souls, all the light workers, all the beautiful star seeds, whatever it may be, that, or maybe you just woke up to this whole kind of spiritual story. But one of the things that we know, before we can create a new earth, before we can ascend into a higher vibrational dimension, into the fourth dimension and the fifth dimension, and eventually on into the sixth and the eighth and the 10th. And when I say eventually, this might take hundreds or thousands of years, right? None of that is written in stone. We know where we're going. We have an 800-year golden age ahead of us. And that's very astrological. So if you study astrology, you'll see that astrologically, if you look at the bigger astrological plans and yugas that we're really looking, we're just sticking our toes in the beginning of this 800-year golden age. And so we will, and in those ways, these things are predestined, because energetically they are also very aligned to higher planets and stars and energies and dimensions. And the earth herself is a sentient being, and she is also awakening. So much going on that we don't have to worry about or do, right? It's happening for us and with us and through us. But until we really bring peace to the earth and start to move into really a state of unconditional love, we can't raise the vibration of the planet, right? So they're part and parcel of awakening, part of ascension. Just like the other thing the record keepers often talk about is that when we come to the earth, we write a whole soul plan. And part of that soul plan is soul contracts with many, many different people. Some of them are support contracts. Some of them are with soul family members. Some of them are karmic contracts, which means that I've come to learn and grow with you, from you. It may be a two-way street, or sometimes a big challenge, which is often a karmic pattern, may be, you being there to support that person who's having the challenge, or maybe you're having the challenge and they're there to support you to grow through it, to learn from it. So all of life is, of course, part of Earth School. And we're here to support each other in our soul growth and learning and new wisdom, and raising our vibrations, becoming more conscious, raising our consciousness, all of these things. And so when we start to realize that we have contracts with other people, and some of them are about, again, karmic patterns, working through some emotional pain, trauma, real big challenges. Some of them right now on Earth, a big collective soul contract is, one of them is about ending abuse on the planet. Mm-hmm. So a lot of light workers have stepped into ancestral lineages of abuse. They may be in a very abusive family. And part of what they're doing is ending abuse by saying, no, the buck stops here. I will not pass that on. Another very big contract is about balancing masculine and feminine energy, because it's so out of balance, right? As we talk about like toxic masculinity, of course, there's a version of that with femininity. But again, until we can rebalance these energies, we can't really ascend, because we're confused, we're in judgment, we're in pain, we're dealing, with a relationship challenges. It may be within ourselves. This is why I would say there are more transsexual people on the planet now than ever before. And part of that is another way. LGBTQ, all of this is all about realigning masculine and feminine energy in your body, in your relationships, in the world. Because every human has a masculine channel and a feminine channel of energy in their body. You are both. So coming into balance is so important. So, there is a lot going on in the world, just, in that like small amount of kind of overview. And to me, the huge benefit of learning to read your own Akashic records is that you can learn the truth of all of these aspects for yourself. You can go into your library, talk to your librarian who are there to support you. You can ask, what are some of my big karmic patterns? Who do I have soul contracts with? Or is there a soul contract with my mother, that's complete, or my father that's complete, or that's karmic, or is it support? So often finding out, understanding in a deeper way, some of the way we have contracted with our family members, with our partners, our spouses, our children, our best friends, our business partners. We have soul contracts with all these people. So understanding them. Are they support? Are they karmic? Do we have past lives together? Are there ancient gifts and talents that are part of those lives that would be useful to reclaim and bring forward in the world now? So I know that's a lot.
It's so helpful. I mean, I have about I have a bunch of questions, but what's so helpful with this is that when I hear this, and if you are listening to this, it means that everything that you have been through or going through and will go through has meaning. Like it has a meaning. We're not just here like it's and that there's so much meat there. Okay, this is a random question, but then I'm going to come back. What do the Akashic records, how do the Akashic record keepers feel about God? Like, or divine or the creator? Like, how do the records view, God, creator, divine, whatever word you want to come up with it?
So it's a good question. I don't think anybody's ever asked me that. So what they say is the Akashic records is part of source energy, which is not a thing. It is very expansive, everything. It is part of this quantum field. And so we are actually very much part of we are creator beings. We have come to create. So we really are God in our own right, in a body, in life. And one of the very cool things that you can learn and start to understand and work deeper with, and what I love to teach my students, is how to go also deeper into this quantum field, into the void, which is really that space of infinite possibilities. The void is no thing and all things, right? No thing and all possibility. And from that space, it's amazing how much creative work we can do. So that's kind of the way they say it. We are right, that micro of this huge macro. And they want us to understand that, to embrace it, to embody it. And that's why we have come here at this time, why all of these light workers and all of these really ancient souls who have come back to the planet 600, 800, 1,000 times, right? These galactic souls, all of our star seeds, all of us are here right now to create a new earth. So we have come to literally be the creator beings that we are.
Yeah, it's very, and I love the way you put that. Like, it feels like you said, like the bigger macro, and that this gives people a map to, that, like I said, we're not just like hanging out. There's there's just so much more to it. Let me ask you this. If someone said, because I'm going to talk about your class coming up, you've mentioned the keys to reading the records. What if someone said, I, I'm not intuitive. I don't know how to do that. Like, do you need to be intuitive to read the records? Or is it like, yeah, can you say more about
Yeah,
that? Because I get that
absolutely.
question with shamanism. Well, I'm not
Yeah,
intuitive.
right. Right. Well, I would say, no, you don't need to be intuitive. And even that's going to mean different things for different people. So, as a matter of fact, I had an email this morning, pretty much that exact question. Like, but what we often get hung up on is I'm not clairvoyant, right? I
Mm-hmm,
can't see.
mm-hmm,
And clairvoyance is actually just a small piece, right? We have clairvoyance, which can be handy and useful and kind of fun, honestly. We have clairaudience, which is that hearing aspect. But for very few people actually hear kind of that big booming voice or hear anything that's outside. For I'm going to say 95% of people, it's that small, soft voice in your head. It sounds like you. But as we learn, and this is part of what I teach, is that we start to listen and to recognize the nuances. And we realize, oh, that was in my head, but the words are not words I use. That sounded, I wouldn't say that. Oh, isn't that interesting? That's really a clairaudient message. And then we have, of course, clairsentience, which is all that feeling sense. And so a lot of people relate intuition to clairsentience. And again, that could be I follow my gut or I follow my heart. We energetically feel like, oh, that's a big yes. I feel that in my heart. I'm drawn forward. Or maybe my gut does a flip flop and I'm thinking, no, that doesn't feel right. And so we follow the senses in our body. Many of us, as clairsentient, feel buzzing and tingling and swirling and warm and, cold. And so we feel energy moving. All of that is helpful. We all have pieces of all of these clairs. And actually, to me, the most powerful clair is claircognizance.
mm-hmm.
Now, claircognizance means clear knowing. And when you get a claircognizant message, it often, interestingly, comes through your clairaudience, right? It kind of comes almost, the interesting thing, the clairaudient channels run around your eyes and almost like a pair of glasses, go back around your ears and come down the sides of your neck, down into your heart.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. Like
Yeah.
this. Okay.
So the clairaudience is connected into your heart. So often that message, that download, that knowing drops into the heart. And we feel like, I just know that whole story. That's what people often refer to as a download. I got a download. I
Mm,
just know. And often for me, as an Akashic record reader, I sometimes will get a little message. I might get a specific words to say to a client. These are very specific words or the message. And I would always say, well, I know that's, for you. I don't talk that way. That's, so sometimes it comes through that way. Often it's just that very deep knowing. I know the story. I have the feelings that are connected. I just know it. I can't tell you how I know it. I just know it. And sometimes I get like a little out of focus snapshot, like a little clairvoyant image, but it's usually just kind of a weird out of focus snapshot. So I get a vague picture, kind of a soft, clairaudient, sound, but the strength comes in through that claircognizance. And so to me, learning to trust that aspect is huge. And of course, in my workshops, I do quite a bit of, collective healing. I actually offer my brand new students a 45-minute healing. It's a recorded call, so you can listen to it again and again and again, where I go through and I clear all these channels and do all of this energy work and all this healing on past life traumas and all of these things. So I really think it's important to start to open your clairs. But many of my students come to me even as relatively new spiritual seekers, and sometimes they haven't shut things down. Some of us, the more we try, the more we shut it down, right? Because more we constrict, the more we're shutting down our clairs. So no, you don't need to be intuitive or psychic or clairvoyant or any of those things, really. You just need to be able to open your heart and allow yourself to simply and easily walk through the 5-step wisdom prayer system. This beautiful with these galactic access keys. It's a very simple process that I teach people. And the very fun thing is, let me see if I can find it super quick, because it's a cool visual. And what I've done is I've done some aura photos of some of my students before they open their Akashic records and after they've opened their Akashic records. And so this
Ooh.
is the visual of one of my students. Now, interestingly, let me see, the before, this is before, which is gorgeous and golden and really nice. But what this pie chart is showing is that 40% of her energy is more mental level. And then the other big 50% chunk of the red is kind of physical level, right? And so once she used the access key, and you can see that in these bars, once she used the galactic 5-step wisdom prayer system, opens her records, she moves into her intuition, opens up her clairsentience, opens up. See this chart move
That's
to
amazing.
this intuitive energy, which was like 16% here, is now 40% with her
Awesome.
records open.
Well, in the before, the way I can see it through Zoom is she looks almost like non-human. No, like really, it's very interesting. And then in the next one, it's like you can see her beauty, you see her. And
Mm,
that's very striking.
yeah. Yeah, so I mean, it really is. It is, and I'm doing a lot more of these. I've got a live Akashic conference in San Francisco coming up in April, and we'll do a bunch more of these, because I'm really working on kind of scientifically how can I prove, because this is
Yes.
15 minutes. This is not 25 years of practice. This 5-step wisdom prayer system takes you from being in your human state. And for her, it was very mental, organized, thinking, physical, in the body, to moving into the higher mind, higher vibration, intuition, and the mental linear thinking, and even the physical energy kind of stepped back and took a back seat, as you can really see over here how they really
Amazing.
it's yeah, so pretty interesting, very fun to kind
So
of
cool.
show those.
And to have proof, like, look, this is actually working and to help you open up those channels. And what you also said about like people who, because like I said, I get that question all the time. Well, I don't know if I can hear, but everything you said, it's like learning to trust the way you are going
Yes.
to be in relationship with it. And then as we end, I just want to say one thing you did say earlier was, the piece about love, unconditional love, that what it all comes down to. I mean, everything you said is it's so powerful and such an amazing map. But all of it is like, how do we go into that state of unconditional love, loving our journey, loving people, and that's where that ascension is truly going to come from in the next 800 years.
Yes, and hopefully way, way, way sooner.
Let's
Hopefully in the
hope.
next
Yes.
1 to 5 years, we'll see a huge shift there. 1 to 10 years. It's a big
Let's
year
hope.
right now. Yes, yes, yes. But again, we do have free will. So those things are why, nothing is written in stone. They're written in our soul plan. This is one of my books. It's a great way to start learning more about your Akashic records. Your soul has a plan, awaken to your life purpose through your Akashic records, right? And they're all available on Amazon and everything. So you could always go search for Lisa Barnett, author, and you will find all 4 of my books. But your soul plan is fascinating, and it really explains, that you wrote this. You may have picked that crazy family. You may have chosen that health challenge or that soul contract. You have brought gifts and talents with you into this world. There is no doubt, because we've had hundreds of lives. And so as we start to understand them, we can literally clear what blocks us in this quantum void energy, in this beautiful field of the Akasha. We can start to reclaim these gifts and talents. We can understand that we aren't victims, that we've really wanted to do this, even the painful parts.
Right.
And so I find that really helps us just transform the way we see the world. And so learning to read your records or having an Akashic reading, like I say, I still do readings because I love to help, my clients. But it's really the time now, because we are open to it. The energy is here and present. I think we can do more now than we've been able to do, since I've been working in this field for 30 years. This is so much faster, so much stronger, so much easier. So it's an exciting time.
Like, yeah, like potent, easier, all the things. And I mean, I just want to say before we end, like, just my experience, Lisa, of your energy is literally even more than from before when I interviewed before. Like, so much light. You are embodying the light of the records of yourself, and it is like you're popping.
Yeah.
It's really no, you
Thank
are.
you.
It's so good. Okay, so
Thank
tell us about, you have your free gift, and then go ahead and tell us too about the Unchain Your Galactic Self class you have coming up. There's 2 things.
Yes, yes. So in beginning in March, I'm doing a 2-month deep dive into the Akashic Records, where I teach you my 5-step wisdom prayer system. I take people into these more expansive areas of the Akash. And you learn all the tools that the record keepers have been giving me over these last 30 years. And so it's really a beautiful deep dive into the Akashic Records. And if you're hearing this, and it may have just started around May 9th, but honestly, it's not too late to join if you're called, because it is a 2-month program. You get 2 readings included with certified consultants that I have trained. We have 5 2-hour healing days alone, just to help clear all of these old patterns and traumas and karmic issues and programming and all of this, as well as literally 24 hours of learning to access your Akashic records, what's in there, how to go deeper, understanding your ancestral lineage, your past lives, your gifts and talents, the contracts, your soul family. So much information literally in a 2-month program. So I would love to see some of you join me.
And I hope that they do. And then you have the 4-hour that will lead the 2-day. I mean, sorry,
Right.
2 months. And
Right.
then, okay, and then what's your free gift that they can access here?
Right. So I have channeled, one of the books I channeled is called From Questioning to Knowing with 73 Healing Prayers. And so what I've done is I've taken all the prayers that have to do with money and abundance, and again, creating the life that your heart and soul desire. And I've made a nice little free ebook for you with the prayers of abundance.
Which we were talking about before this is so needed, like to help
Yes.
release the scarcity and poverty and all those vows of poverty and all the things that people take that they probably don't even realize.
Right, absolutely. And, ancestral lineage, a lot of our ancestral energies hold us down. We can heal. There's a prayer in this ebook to clear some of these ancestral blocks that have to do with money. A lot of our money stuff comes from that. And I teach these sorts of things in the Akashic 2-month program. And if you've got big money challenges, really even having a reading, because I usually will go through 5 to 7 layers of money blocks that come from past lives and vows and old soul contracts, ancestral lineage, this life, what happened in this life too, because that's important also. But you hit all of these layers, which can make a huge difference.
Thank you so much. And your work is so important, especially right now, like you said, in the potency and the ability to move through things. So thank you for being a yes for this. It's your turn. And thank you to Lisa. And thank you to you for watching. And my name is Beth Osmer, and I'll see you on the next one. All right, take care, everyone.